Look at all of this. What do you see? This is something so simple that a lot of us take for granted. Sometimes we tend to forget who gave us all of this. Because God gave us so much, how could we ever repay Him? Stewardship. Everything on this earth belongs to God. We are put on this earth to manage it for His glory. God loves us so much that He gave us so much to be thankful for. Stewardship is known as the responsibility that we as Christians have to respect and care for all of God's creation. Stewardship has 4 basic principles. It can be broken down by 1, the principle of ownership, 2, the principle of responsibility, 3, the principle of accountability, and 4, the principle of reward. The principle of ownership deals with us accepting our role as stewards. Psalm number 24 says, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." That is the fundamental principle of stewardship. Stewardship shows our commitment of ourselves and possessions to God's service. It allows us to recognize that we do not have the right of control over our property or ourselves. Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. This helps us stewards to come to the realization that with hard work comes reward. God will help you as long as you help Him too. The second principle of responsibility is made so that we are responsible for what we own and how we treat it. We as Christians must be aware of how we treat this earth and become conscious of what we do with it. Welch describes this principle as, "We are called as God's stewards to manage that which belongs to God. While God has graciously entrusted us with the care, development, and enjoyment of everything He owns as His stewards, we are responsible to manage His holdings well and according to His desires and purposes. I think that we have a purpose in this world. We must use our drive for desire to help God's purpose for us." The third principle is our accountability. Accountability is our responsibility. Whatever happens, we must take the fall for. Or on the flip side, we may be rewarded with the glory. Welch describes the third principle as, "A steward is one who manages the possessions of another." We are all stewards of the resources, abilities, and opportunities that God has entrusted to our care, and one day each one of us will be called to give an account for how we have managed what the Master has given us. We all have the capability to help what God gave us in some type of way. We are put on this earth given with compassion, love, and dignity. The third principle of accountability is knowledge. Knowledge is power. One oak tree contains 284 species of insects. Just by planting one tree, you're creating a home for that many bugs. This will help your ecosystem and help everyone. The fourth principle of reward is what we need and what we deserve. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24. Welch speaks out about how we must embrace our work rather than to dread it. Reward is important and we should feel good and feel a reward when we do something good. We are presented many opportunities to be stewards so that we can glorify God. Jesus calls us as His disciples to work as Christians. As stewards, we are supposed to live life as Jesus would do. We are called to respect human life and to be good to the gifts that we have been given. One of the most famous examples of a stewardship role model is the Virgin Mary Magdalene. Christ calls each of us to be stewards of our own personal vocations, which we receive from God. As the Bible describes, living this lifestyle will connect you with God. All things work for good for those who love God. Because He has given us so much to be thankful for, we try to give back to Him by helping the other creations He has given us. God gives us His divine human workshop, this world, and the church of ours. Stewardship is giving back to God by taking care of all of His creations. We as Christians can live this out by doing simple acts such as recycling, planting trees, and helping the poor. Paper is something that us high school students, it is so common to use. Every day, American businesses generate enough paper to circle the earth 20 times. Approximately 1 billion trees worth of paper are thrown away every year in the United States. If every household in the United States reused a paper bag for one shopping trip, about 60,000 trees would be saved. If all of our newspapers were recycled, we could save about 250 million trees each year. The amount of wood and paper we throw away each year is enough to heat 50 million homes for 20 years. Aluminum is the most recyclable of all materials. Discarded aluminum is more valuable than any other item in the recycling bins. Americans throw away nearly 1 billion worth of aluminum cans every year. The aluminum industry pays out more than $800 million a year for recycled cans. The U.S. industry can recycling rate is approximately 67%. Thus, nearly $1 billion of recycling profit can be gained. What's probably most relevant to you is that recycling one aluminum can saves enough energy to listen to a full album on an iPod. In 2007, an open letter to Apple, Steve Jobs encouraged the company to expand its own product recycling efforts. The company has set a goal of 70% recycling efficiency by 2015. We face many complex challenges today when it comes to a clean and healthy ocean. One problem is a simple fix. Americans use 2,500,000 plastic bottles every hour. Most of them are thrown away. The average time taken by plastic bottles to decompose in a landfill is close to about 700 years. Stewardship may involve helping the people around you, the environment you live in, the animals you see, and the plants you smell. Anything made in God's eyes is needed to be helped. Stewardship could lead to a cleaner and healthier environment, happier people, a better world. God mentions stewardship several times in the Bible. He wants us to live for the work He made. I think that stewardship is so important and very unappreciated.